Hello Gunpla fans, this is Joe of Joe's Gunpla here with another video, and I'm going to take a look at the new action base that comes with the Master Grade Gundam Fenice Rinascita. Now, it's very similar in style to the action base one, but it's also very different in some key areas. So, let's first take a look at the base itself. If I can get everything to pop out, there we go. Those actually fit in much more snug than the original version. You're going to get two main plates. You got the large base here that has 9 holes. You can fit it pretty much anywhere you want. The one downside of this, as compared to the original Action Base 1, is I feel like there was a bit more variety as in positioning of the arms, the support arms. I feel like there are some areas where it would be nice to have an attachment point. In between these 2 points here, that'd be really nice to have at least one, and I feel like the Action Base 1 had a pretty good spread. You can fit your pegs in a variety of areas that really give you a lot more creative control, whereas this seems just very technical, straightforward. You basically only have 4 positions, either all the way to the edge, actually only 3 positions, all the way to the edge, slightly further from the edge, and then the center itself. It just depends on which way you want all the designs to be facing, and since it's so very symmetrical, you really only have the 3 choices. The other thing I'd like to point out is with this here, I think this is actually an improvement, just because you don't have to keep flipping this around to get all 5 positions that the original one could offer. So whereas the original only had 3 holes, this one has 5, so you can snap it in and just leave it, and you're pretty much good to go. Moving on to the arm itself, you're going to get the same articulation at the base, only this does not use a screw to keep it tight. Honestly, on the original, I don't think this one ever needed a screw, but they gave it to you anyway. You have the same articulation here. The main difference is that instead of this sub-arm, let me get this focused in a little bit, instead of this sub-arm being able to extend in order to change the position, this section here, instead of being a fixed point, moves up and down the shaft of the main arm. You're going to pull out this peg here, which loosens that up, and you go all the way down to the bottom, like that, or you can go all the way up to the top, like this, if you want it to go pretty far out from, like a centered position. And then you simply pop this peg, or rather this lever back up, and it locks in position. It does have a little bit of wiggle, but obviously the weight of the kit is going to make this settle into a position, so that's not going to be too much of an issue. The next thing is going to be on the back here. You've got a lever for the main arm itself extending upward. Let me make sure my camera's focused again. I'm going to pull this out very similar to the lever in the front, and that's going to allow this to extend up and down. I'm going to go ahead and snap that back into place, and again, there is a little bit of wiggle, but any weight on top is going to remedy that during display, so you shouldn't have an issue there. Next key point is, again, there are no screws, so instead of having a screw to tighten up and lock this position here, you have a locking mechanism. Sorry, it's on the other side. And this actually, it feels very firm. You've got about, it feels like almost 2 clicks before that pops up, and then this will go in a variety of positions. I think you've got about 10 or so that you can choose from. And you have to make sure that it's actually in position before you can re-lock the gears. There we go. And this one has very little give. I am afraid, though, that with the new plastic construction that this has, that there's going to be some issues as far as weight. I wouldn't put a very heavy mobile suit in a very dynamic pose with this arm here. I feel like there is a chance that the small locking mechanism in here because it is just plastic, may snap. I don't know how much weight that can support. So I don't know if this is going to be the official new design of the action base or not, but it does have some strengths over the original. But the original also has a lot of its own strengths, such as the positioning on the base itself, and I do like the screw tightening at the top of the original. But that is a basic overview of the new action base. I would like to note that this new action base, should they decide to release it, thus far as the runners go now, doesn't have any of the U-shaped brackets to hold the hips of a kit. So it's going to depend on mostly like the newer kits, since an action base was released back in 2000 something or other. It's going to depend on the attachments that come with your kits, or you can use the old attachments from the old action base one. You're just going to want to make sure that you have some of those on hand in case that this design ends up completely replacing the old action base one. And yes, you're going to want to make sure you have some of those U-shaped brackets. Everything else that comes with the new action base, there's not a whole lot. We have a peg holder that's for your newer high grades that have the peg in the crotch. We have an adapter here. This is so you can put in a mounting point sideways. For example, if you wanted to use this peg hook, you can mount this peg into that hole, and it'll be sitting in like this on top of the action base, so your peg will be coming straight out. The only reason I can really think of using this is if you wanted to mount that on top and then flip this all the way down so that your peg is pointing straight down. You can hang your mobile suit upside down, I guess. This here, I can't tell what it's for. It's not used in the manual for the Rinascita, and it looks like the peg is too small to fit inside the peg holes. I would also like to point out that the Action Base 1 has really nice nameplate that you can attach into one of these holes so you can display the name of your kit. This one, thus far, does not. So, that's it for the look at the new Action Base. It is pretty interesting. Pick up a Master Grade Rinascita and check it out. It's a pretty cool action base. Like I said, it feels flimsy, but I think it's got good structural integrity overall. Like I said, the joints they're a little loose, but when you have a kit on top of it, it's going to keep it all settled, and things aren't going to move really at all. So this is the only area where I feel like the plastic joints may be a little weak. So until next time, guys, happy building and be good to each other. Also, be sure to pick up a Master Grade Rinascita.